Hello, Boris Pravisham here, and I'm finally back on the Nidd building server. It's been a week because this world, in particular, it seemed, was bugged for me in the previous update. For some reason, whenever I logged into certain worlds, and I don't know what the connection between those worlds, but I would stick there and I wasn't able to move forward. It was almost as if I had a really slow frame rate, but the frame rate was still up around 50, 60, but when I moved forward it was all very jittery, and the camera, I would move it, like move the mouse, and then a second later it would move like that, and I obviously couldn't play or record like that. It would have taken hours to do anything, and it wouldn't have been at all good to watch, so I just waited a week and hoped this update would fix it, and it did. So what I have done is just come straight on the server and hit record. So I don't really know what I'm doing. Right, so let's go through what I've done since the last time. I took the Phoenix and I broke it. There's supposed to be some drills down there in the bottom left hand corner on the back, and it was rather broken, and I'll show you where I broke it. It was down in the storage room, which is where I recorded the last episode. I've done a lot more. I've started experimenting with ways of trying to get a floor to go that way, to run along the same axis as this, which is going to require a few rotors to get everything in the right place. But then that piece there is going to be a large ship rather than a station, and it's going to have to be constantly connected to a rotor, which, given that it's multiplayer, I'm not too confident in, even though it's getting a lot better, especially after these bug fixing updates. Apart from the fact that the last one stopped me playing quite a few worlds, it's running a lot more smoothly. In here, into the storage room, I've done a little bit more work since last time. Last time was the basics that I got down. I've installed the start of a security system, and that is a mod, and they do work. So I have some security in this room for when people try and break into my lair, which is no doubt going to happen, because, well, it already has. I mean, Anubis has broken in on more than one occasion. There's the three things. I've got these little consoles. I'm not entirely happy with that. I never am with anything that I build. That light in there throws a nice backlight, I think. Sort of casts a nice light in there, and I think I'm not too happy with the stairs, but it's different. Out here, if you're wondering, last time where this wall was is where the little cavern here stopped. So there was an asteroid where this wall is, but that's where the Phoenix came in. I burrowed in from out there, created a new tunnel, and opened up this space. You can see the trail marks that it leaves, and now I've got a bit more space, and I'm going to open up into here. I'm thinking this can be a little bit more. Well, that'll be a hall, I think. I'll decorate it up a little bit differently, and then I'd have again, I wanted to try and leave these tunnels sort of a place for a transport system, maybe, so that maybe the base isn't quite big enough for that. But my original idea was to have a gravity, or maybe not even gravity, but some sort of an automatic transport system that would sort of work with sensors, so that you could just hop on the little tram and it would take you around the base. It's going to be quite a while before I need that. This is a long-term project. It's more about the journey than the destination, and so it's going to be a long time before I need anything like that, but it might be a good idea to get it set up beforehand. I don't know. But yeah, I did have a sort of idea for a bridge, kind of, over this. So if I was to treat this as some sort of a road, and then have a bridge over it so that the tram would go underneath it, and then up in here could be, it would expand out into both walls, could be a sort of refinery area, a bit of an industrial complex. I think this storage room kind of looks best from above, which is strange. I might have to have a up where this platform is. See if we go up here and look down. See, I quite like seeing that orange and those I don't know what you call them, the pillory sort of things. So I might have to have something up here in the center of the asteroid to with some openings to look down on it and make use of that. And yeah, so that was going to be a bit of a refinery area, and I've got the communications room up the top, which I have done absolutely nothing in the past week because I haven't been able to. I thought I should get something out as soon as I could. Also, right now, a bit of a disclaimer about the noise. I'm sorry, there will be fan noise. I'll just run some generic SE music underneath it to try and cover it up a little bit. But it is still quite hot. Today I got an email saying my air conditioner, I bought an air conditioner for my little place. It turned up in Sydney, which is about 1,000 kilometres from where I live, so it'll turn up next week when they deliver it. Come on, we're lagging out here. There we go. But yeah, up there is the communications room, which is where I got my idea for this next one. Then up here. Oh yeah, it's the noise in the background is fans and the computer fan. My computer sounds like a fridge almost when it's running this game. It's hovering around 80 degrees now, the CPU. I'm sure the GPU is even hotter, which is unfortunate. This world is fairly resource intensive. But if you've been following my general videos, I don't know, it seems that different people follow different videos. I now have a tiny group. Again, I'm talking, tens of people that watch only my TTT stuff now. So yeah, I can't be sure that everyone watches everything, and I wouldn't expect anyone to. Not that self-important. But yeah, one of the other things that I've started doing is the Nidd Weekly, a little weekly sort of news recap of things that are happening. And when I was doing it, took me so long to edit the first one. It was meant to come out last Sunday, and I got it out Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember now. It was only a couple of days ago, and I've already forgotten. The funny thing about documenting current events is that they tend to change. So whenever you've just finished something, just got it edited, and then it changes, and you have to do it all again. And yeah, for that one, I decided I needed a little bit of a studio, a place to record the news. But I didn't have the time, because otherwise it would have taken another few days for the update and for me to then fix everything that had then changed. I was starting to carve this area out for another room. I didn't really know what. I was just my internet connection wasn't very good one day, so I just started doing a bit of grindy work rather than something a bit more creative. So I started just drilling out areas where I wanted rooms, and I think I might put this one to use as a bit of a studio. I wanted to have, how like in news programs they tended to have like the backdrop of a city or something like that in the behind it. So that's why I put it up there in the window, up in the communications room, so that would have a little bit of a backdrop to it. And I just took a screenshot. There wasn't actually video. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I wanted a bit of a backdrop, so I built it up there, and I thought, I'm paying for Adobe Premiere Pro, the CC edition. I've worked in places that have used Premiere Pro before, so I got rather used to it. I've never been good at editing, and you'll know by the fact that this video is entirely unedited. I've never been good at it, never enjoyed it, and but yeah, I sort of know how to use the program. I'm familiar with it, and I figured I'm pretty much paying the extra. I mean, it's not as expensive as it used to be. It probably will work out more expensive in the long run because the new one is a subscription model rather than an outright purchase. But it used to be $450 odd or something like that, US dollars. Yeah, I think it was for CS6, which is the second to last version. Yeah, which is obviously a steep price. And I got it for free from work, but the subscription ran out, so I've started to. Well, I did try out like Vegas and a couple of other free ones and all these different things. And even though like Vegas is excellent, it's a great video editing program, I just wasn't used to it, and it took me ages to do everything. So I ended up. That was just the trial. I ended up going with the Creative Cloud, Adobe Premiere Pro CC, which is the new one. It's about $20 US a month. Yeah, I started using that, and it's a bit overkill because I should probably just be using the Elements version or something. But since I have it, that was a bit of a tangent there. Since I have it, and it has things like chroma key ability, I might as well use a green screen. So I wanted to build a little studio in here. I might start that now. But before you do that, I just need to stop and check something. Right, I'm back. I didn't move, so you wouldn't have even noticed. I don't know why I even bothered. See, if I was better at editing there, I would have just cut that straight out. Yeah, I just wanted to check the time on this episode. I keep running over. So we'll go in here and we'll start building a little bit of a. I wonder what I should build it out of. I'm in a bit of a creative phase at the moment. I'm going to have to connect it up to get the power. So we'll start down here. I'm not going to finish it today, by the way. I'll sort of start on it, and you'll see it in the next episode probably. I just wanted to let you know what I was starting on and what I was up to. What was I talking about? The studio, that's right. I'm going to build a little bit of a studio to record a sort of a newscast, the weekly, the Nidd Weekly from. Yeah, I'm in a bit of a creative building phase at the moment, so I've been building a few little creative things here and there. Most of them, as usual, haven't worked out in the slightest, so I've scrapped them. But one that has is the racetrack. I think partly because we're building as a group. The Purple Niddites, we've got a server up and running, a creative server, and it's just dedicated to this one racetrack which we're building. If you watch the Nidd Weekly, I had a quick fly around the track sort of in the background, and then I think it was looking alright. That was pretty much just my additions, the track itself, but since then Zek and Anubis have been building on it, and it's starting to look rather nice. I don't want to spoil anything, but I think I was drilling in completely the wrong direction. Where's the wall? So if that's the wall there, and we went along down there. So, okay, so I think we wanted to build a square in there. So let's grab this. Not the Fondler, this thing. The ship with no name. I missed. Yeah, the racetrack's starting to turn out really nicely. It looks good, and hopefully it'll run pretty smoothly as well, because the game's gotten a few updates, and finding things are running at much better frame rates. Still nowhere near enough to even bother recording in 60 FPS. Not that I think I will end up. It just takes up too much file space. Yeah, I'd rather record at 30 FPS and not have to worry about that. No. Yeah, been in a bit of a creative building phase, which has brought on why I wanted to do a bit of a mini game month, where we build a whole lot of mini games. So I'm in the mood to build stuff. It's dark in here. I suppose we're going to have to put in some studio lights, aren't we? Doesn't need to be that big. Just trim it a little bit more. Yeah. One other thing in these episodes I like to just talk about what's been on my mind and what I'm up to. And previously, I used to have a YouTube channel before this, and I did a similar sort of thing, one episode a week of just plodding around on a survival server, just talking, and I used to talk about my life a little bit more, but just in general, and now I kind of don't have one, in the sense that this is what I spend all my free time on now, which is sad in one way, but and by this I don't mean just this particular server or this particular game, but the group, the Nidd group. I've met so many interesting people so far, and I spend all of my free time playing with one or another. So that tends to be all I've got to talk about, is what's happening in the Nidd, which again is a little bit sad in some ways, but I quite enjoy it. I'm having a lot of fun. We're starting a few different games, and both inside and outer space engineers, like different games inside SE. I think this is enough space now. We really need to light this up. This is going to be terrible in the video. It always turns out darker than it is. So I'll do that first. I'll just grab a construction component. Another break. Sorry about that. Apparently my cat wanted to be a part of the video. She's just hungry. It's because I never ever feed her. At least in her opinion. Why did I just put all those things back? What are we going to need? I say we'll just bring 50 of them, why not? 500, yeah. In my creative building exploits, I've rather fallen in love with the blast door blocks mod. Partly because these glass doors are very useful in creative, not least just for the basic, well, not basic, but the uses for pistons and its actual doors, but as building blocks, I think it adds a little bit more of a variation, a few more options than just the armor ones. The same goes for the concrete blocks. The only problem is these are a pain to build in survival. They've got so many things. Over on the right there you can see cement, sand, construction components, metal grids, girders. They're a pain to build compared with the ease of just stocking up on steel plates for these and for blast door blocks. And I've been using these full blocks on the racetrack because they don't deform, which is nice. I think first things first, I'll just quickly put up the light. I wish I had the name of the author of that mod to thank them. Generally, I've not been much of a fan of mods in games. Not because I think they're in any way bad at all. Is that going to place down anytime soon? Come on, server, catch up. This isn't the server's problem either, it's mine. My connection. I've never particularly been much of a fan of mods. Not because of the fault of the mods or the modders or the concept of modding, but simply because by the time I had gotten enough out of the game, I didn't feel like I needed to add anything more to it. I felt like just moving on to another one. And so I've never really fallen into the culture of modding. But Space Engineers is... let's bring up the lights. Apparently everything just updated in the background. Just bring up the radius, sort of light up the room. If it's going to update, or is that updated? I think it's updated. I must have folded underneath it. We'll just put down a floor and see where to go from there. Switch to there. Oh, this is going to take a little while. Yeah, Space Engineers has sort of slowly introduced me a little bit more to the world of modding. It's at a very basic level. Yeah. Plus, mods tend to be very complicated, needlessly so. But yeah, I really like the extra creative blocks. I really enjoy having, you know, these little decorations and stuff, because it's right down my alley. I just wait for this stuff to sort of to update in the background. Oh, okay, that's a bit faster. And now this one's going to slow down, but if you just place them around here, they'll slowly turn up. One thing about living in Australia is that you get really good at compensating for lag. There. What was I? Yeah, I think. Okay, so what I'm thinking is for their. See, I don't have much experience in a TV studio. I don't really, especially a new studio. I've never been in one, so I don't know what they look like. But I do have a bit more experience in radio and radio booths. So I'm thinking of kind of just going with what I have knowledge of. So maybe a bit more of sort of the control area, and then there'd be like a glass window looking into a soundproof room, and in here you'd have the green screen background, which I'm hoping will actually work. If it doesn't, then I might have to put something else of a view on there, or work it out so that it does. But I'm thinking, yeah, using those glass door blocks with the green saturation all the way up, and like a brighter green. Character doesn't have any green on it, so it'll be fine. And then I can make use of the green screen in the editing software. I have to learn how to do it again, but it's not that difficult. And then I'll have myself a studio. That brings me on. I don't have much time left to talk. I don't want to be dragging these out too long. It's only so long someone can listen to someone ramble on about whatever they feel like. Just a couple of quick things. I'm going to be posting a separate video about it, but we are working on a public server. Anubis has been doing a heck of a lot of work for it. So when it gets up, make sure you thank him for that, because it's all down to him. If it was me, I'd still be going next month. It'd take me another month to get that all set up and correcting. The only problem we're having isn't with the game itself. The setting up the server is all right. That's not too difficult. It's getting the website up and running. Well, not the website itself. That again is fairly easy, but accepting donations online. I've gotten a few people who want to get involved with that, and I am incredibly thankful for it. The generosity already is beyond belief for me. I know you hear people waxing lyrical about that sort of thing all the time, but genuinely, with the amount of people so far, I think we've managed to cover 1 month, and that's not including the donations like the sort of the team members building the server and running it, such as myself. That's not including our donations. That's just the donation of people who want to play on it. Obviously, I haven't accepted anything yet because, and that would just be wrong to accept donations for something that isn't already running. I guess you can just accept them and run off with them. Don't have any proof of what your money's going towards. So hopefully those people will still be around. But money is a touchy subject, and the public server I've merged with sort of the land of Nod, as partners. So the Nidd and the Land of Nod will be combining to create the Land of Nidd. An incredibly creative name, I know. So put your socks back on after they were just blown off, but that's what it's going to be called. And yeah, they had that's run by Has Been Bad, and they had their donation system already all set up. And see, I trust Has Been entirely. He's a really good guy. He's a very trusty. He's a trusty guy. No, he's very trustworthy and very generous guy. I mean, he did get this server up and running to begin with. None of this would have been possible without him. But by the same, I don't know if people would be comfortable giving money to someone else other than sort of the Nidd group. I don't, rather than giving it to him personally, especially if you guys don't know him. So I wouldn't, even though I trust him completely. I have no qualms with this character whatsoever. But I'm not sure that everyone would just be so trusting and then take my word for it and give money to him, hoping that he would then pass it on to the server costs. Which again, he would, but it doesn't seem like the right way to be going about it. I've already got a bank account for that, just for the Nidd stuff, I did have PayPal set up for it, and that would have been perfect. I mean, it's a thing designed for this sort of situation. The only problem is that they don't really understand privacy very well. They were broadcasting my name and address to the world every time someone tried to donate, which is unacceptable for me. I don't want either of those sort of out on the pub in the public domain sort of thing. So I'd need a post office box, and I'd need to open up another PayPal account, and it's a long process, and I would rather make sure that this thing works out, because of course it might end up being we run for a month and find no one's on the server, and or it doesn't go quite right. So rather than go all of this extra effort and expense, and I'm not a very cashed up guy. I wanted to wait and see how those things turned out. So I won't be able to have PayPal on there without going to those extra expenses, and to set up a way to have credit card donations is. Yeah, equally, there's a few different. Maybe someone out there you've had experience with this sort of thing and can help out with it. And this is a community effort, getting this up and running. I've already invited the creation process of the server. We talked we sat in TeamSpeak for and Has Been. I think he was in there for nearly 8 hours talking about it. I was there for about 5, I think, and I had a handful of pretty much whoever was online, a handful of blue Niddites, and they helped me, and Husband and Newbiz, and who else was there? Spider-Man of the purple Niddites. They helped us. I'm sure I've forgotten someone right then, but they helped us. Oh, hello, Gecko. See, this is why I need air conditioning, so I can close my window. We sort of crafted a server with their help, so it has been a community effort, and I would like it to stay that way. So maybe you've had a bit of experience with sort of money online. You can help me out. Help Anubis and I. See, Anubis is good with the website and the server, but he hasn't had quite as much experience with the money side of things. And although money is, I'm very experienced with the handling of money, but not online. and I wanted to do it right, so that if people, since we do seem to have some very generous people that do want to play on this server, I don't want to, have a system that's not trustworthy. I want to be completely open with it. Every single donation will be pretty much the balance of that bank account will be open for all to see. I will, keep people updated on that. And here goes a train. I think that about signals that I've got to wrap up. So I've gone over time again. Right. But yeah, that's the stumbling block. I'm hoping to get that. I'm hoping maybe next weekend after this is uploaded. So what's that? I'm check my calendar. My microphone is right in the way of my calendar. The 29th. The 29th of November. I'm hoping to get that open, and we'll have a big sort of grand opening as well, and there'll be an announcement video and everything like that. The announcement video will explain what the server's all about. It's sort of a multiplayer, well, obviously multiplayer, I mean a PvP open world thing, but it's not going to just be your standard sort of PvP server like the hundreds of others. There's going to be we're going to be on it non-stop, creating things, not just building wise, but scenarios, and I think the word that I've kind of been using to describe it is comedy roleplay. So nothing serious, so no serious roleplay, but it's going to be a bit silly, a bit funny. We're going to come up with reasons for things to happen. So if you ever wanted to see war between two factions break out for the most nonsensical of reasons, then I'm guessing this server is for you. Wow, that train is loud. Why do I live here? Yeah, so I'm really hoping. Do lights not work? Yeah, lights work. What's happened with this one? Is it just dark in here and it's not really showing up? That's odd. But yes, I have to end. So that'll be coming soon. If you've got any suggestions for it, then I'd like to include you in on the discussion. But anyway, I'll release more news as things go along. Thank you for watching this. If there's any questions, let me know. But I must end because I've already asked about a dozen questions of you. So thank you for listening. Goodbye.